To really figure out what happened, we have to look at every angle. We have to start at the beginning. Cell phone footage shows that agents approached Alex Pretti earlier. He doesn't seem to be obstructing anything, but agents aren't happy and they push him to the side of the road, into the slippery ice. The second agent we just passed is also the one that pushes him later. Soon after, 2 more individuals are seen walking by a federal agent in front of an unidentified vehicle. It's unclear what is being said between these protesters and this agent, but Alex Pretti enters the scene with his camera documenting the exchange. He's also seen waving other cars around the agents. Things clearly escalate as cell phone video catches Pretti screaming.
Hey, do not push them into the traffic!
With cars driving by, Pretti is clearly worried, confronts the agent, who violently shoves the woman into Pretti's direction. As the agent pushes forward and presses against Pretti's neck, another woman approaches, and the agent shoves her into the snow. The woman was nowhere near him. We even have an angle inside the car.
Whoa!
No one touched the agent, and that's when Alex steps in. He places his empty hand up and proceeds to get pepper sprayed viciously. Now let's listen to DHS and the Border Patrol explain what happened.
An individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun.
You just watched all of the angles. At no point did Alex Pretti ever brandish a weapon. He's only ever holding a cell phone, and the agents approach him.
The officers attempted to disarm this individual, but the armed suspect reacted violently.
But the video evidence and his background tell a different story. Alex Pretti was an ICU nurse, and he was stepping in to help these women. For doing so, he was pepper sprayed and pushed onto the ice. As both Alex and the woman slip around, Alex attempts to lift her up to get her back on her feet as the agents yank him to the ground, and 7 more surround him.
One officer in a tan beanie can be seen repeatedly striking Pretti's head with a metal can.
It's hard to watch as these agents pound him in the head with their cans of pepper spray.
The group of officers surrounding Pretti could be heard shouting, "He's got a gun."
At one point, they throw an object away from his pockets, followed by this man in the gray, who then runs away with Alex's weapon. The weapon was one Alex had a permit for, that he was legally allowed to carry, even at a protest. It seems the officers may have been noticing it as they pat him down, as the officer in the gray is seen pulling it from the back of his waist. At no point does it look like Alex is reaching for his weapon. In fact, the other angle shows his fists on the ground the entire time, as his weapon is removed from his holster by the agents. With Alex now unarmed, the agents fire their gun.
Fearing for his life and for the lives of his fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots.
The first shot seemed to miss Alex. They shot 9 more times into his back and continued to fire as he laid motionless, unarmed, in the street.
The fuck did you just do? Oh my god! You are so evil!
Medics were on the scene immediately and attempted to deliver medical aid to the subject, but he was pronounced dead at the scene.
Nobody approached his body for 24 seconds. And when they did, they seemed more worried about figuring out where the supposed gun was and how many times he had been shot. A sworn affidavit from a witness and physician who was there confirms this as well.
The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement.
They want us to believe that Alex Pretti wanted to cause maximum damage and kill law enforcement when the video shows the exact opposite. This administration is lying to us. They rushed to create a panic and assign blame to the opposing political team before a real investigation ever began. They used fear to justify lethal force, then scrambled when the video didn't match the story. And when an independent investigation was supposed to begin, it was blocked.
You arrived at the scene, you were denied. You go to a judge, ask for a warrant, though Judge Grant said warrant. You show up with that, you're still denied.
That's accurate. We were denied after we provided information we had a warrant.
Minnesota's own independent investigators, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, arrived with a signed warrant, yet federal agents still denied them access to the scene. And now the only entity officially tasked with investigating DHS's actions is DHS itself.
You just made claims that the individual posed a threat to law enforcement.
That is no claim. It is the facts. The facts of this situation. This individual showed up to a law enforcement operation with a weapon and dozens of rounds of ammunition. He wasn't there to peacefully protest. He was there to perpetuate violence, and he was asked to show up and to continue to resist by a governor who's irresponsible and has a long history of corruption and lying.
Ah, that's right, because Kristi Noem has never been caught lying herself.
Quote, I remember when I met with North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, I'm sure he underestimated me, having no clue about my experience staring down little tyrants. Did you meet Kim Jong-un?
You know, as soon as this was brought to my attention, I certainly made some changes and looked at this passage, and I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. As soon as it was brought to my attention, we went forward and have made some edits. So I'm glad that this book is being released in a couple of days and that those edits will be in place and that people will have the updated version.
So you did not meet with Kim Jong-un. That's what you're saying.
You know, I've met with many, many world leaders. I've traveled around the world. I think I've talked extensively in this book about my time serving in Congress, my time as governor, before governor, some of the travels that I've had. I'm not going to talk about my specific meetings with world leaders. I'm just not going to do that.
How could anyone trust someone who could lie so confidently and casually? And here's the even wilder part. The same political movement that has spent years defending absolute gun rights, that defended Kyle Rittenhouse showing up armed to a protest, is now suddenly claiming you can't be armed at a protest at all.
Why does a nurse feel compelled to go confront ICE armed with a 9mm handgun?
No one who wants to be peaceful shows up at a protest with a firearm that is loaded with 2 full magazines. That is not a peaceful protest.
Even X had to fact check Cash with the Second Amendment. Apparently, Trump fans forget that Trump fans also carry at protests. The spin was so absurd that even the NRA had to step in and fact check it, pointing out that lawful gun ownership does not magically disappear because people are protesting. When even the NRA is correcting your talking points, this isn't about public safety. It's about rewriting the rules after the fact to protect a bad narrative. We can't stay silent on this issue. This is beyond politics. Alex Pretti's family said it best.
The sickening lies told about our son by the administration are reprehensible and disgusting. Please get the truth out about our son. He was a good man.
All he was doing was helping people park and get through safely. There was absolutely no danger to any of these agents.
In fact, as an ICU nurse at a VA hospital, Alex Pretti might have said it best himself unintentionally when he was honoring a veteran who had passed away.
Today we remember that freedom is not free. You have to work at it, nurture it, protect it, and even sacrifice for it. May we never forget and always remember our brothers and sisters who have served so that we may enjoy the gift of freedom. So in this moment, we remember and give thanks for their dedication and selfless service to our nation in the cause of our freedom. In this solemn hour, we render our honor and our gratitude.